Ivan Anderson, Senior Solutions Consultant at Socure. Welcome. Thanks for joining me today. Where are the biggest blind spots in cybersecurity strategies across government today?
Yeah, so from our perspective, one of the bigger blind spots that we see is how identity is viewed across cybersecurity landscapes. Today, in a lot of infrastructure, you see great sophistication and coverage for addressing things like network vulnerabilities, endpoint vulnerabilities, storage issues, things like that. But identity is largely viewed as static, right? And so the reality is that identity is dynamic and it's evolving every day, and we need to build systems that address that.
Is it helping that Zero Trust has such an important component in identity? Is that driving awareness at least?
Absolutely, yeah. So organizations are really focused on making sure that the person that's meeting them digitally is who they claim to be. And in a zero trust world, you need real-time solutions that perform predictive analysis and make use of things like machine learning to actually evaluate the person behind the keyboard and ensure that they are who they claim to be.
What do you think that disconnect is, that people still think that identity is a static element of whatever their cybersecurity strategy is?
Yeah, so a lot of times when it comes to identity, you think you get their information, you set a password, maybe you give them something for MFA, right? But in a world of dark web credential stealing and account takeover and things like that, the evaluation of the identity needs to be constant. And you need to be evaluating the risk signal that comes along with that user's engagement at every step along the way, whether it be at account creation, at authentication, at access of sensitive resources. You really need to make sure that that person continues to be the person they were up front.
You mentioned MFA. How is identity verification changing to meet that dynamic environment that you just described?
Yeah, so when it comes to like modern authentication and things like FIDO and credential-based authentication, you really need to have high confidence of who that user is before you issue that token. If you issue an MFA device to a user, but they're the wrong user to begin with, you're in a really bad situation. So identity verification is meeting the challenge of giving high confidence to who those users are before you issue those tokens so that you can have a strong footprint going forward.
How is identity part of a strategy to get ahead of the curve instead of being reactive all the time to whatever the latest challenge?
Absolutely. So yeah, legacy systems tend to be reactive, right? And they solve the problem after the bad has already happened, right? And so when you think about the concept of shifting left and moving your control plane to the identity layer, you no longer have to rely on just those reactive systems, but you can get identity right the first time, weeding out things like fake identities, synthetic identities, fabricated persons, people that don't even really exist in the real world at all. And so if you can solve that problem at the front door, it alleviates the burden on some of those more reactive systems that can be more costly and end up costing more dollars to adjudicate the problem.
We've talked about some of the things that are happening to accelerate identity verification. What are some of the challenges that you're seeing organizations facing as far as what they have to do to prevent problems?
Yeah, so especially in the federal government right now, a lot of organizations are very conscious about data and data security, right? In the commercial space, the reality is that data is what really helps you fight fraud, right? You need to have that data and that historical context of the individual to be able to account for variable change and to be able to account for anomalies. So when you're doing that, data and how you use it and how you enable it to empower your decision making going forward is the most valuable thing.
Are there lessons that government organizations can learn from the commercial sector beyond what you just described, Ivan?
Absolutely, yeah. So the commercial space, they really leverage feedback loops with the vendors that they do business with. And so vendors provide them analysis and they provide results back. The government being more open to sharing what the insights that they've been given and how those insights actually played out in the real world to help improve solutions to provide better first-time outcomes for the decisions that they're offering.
It's great to have you here, Ivan. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you very much.